So let's talk a little bit about the nature of and the purpose of a Community Relations and Development Council. Community Relations and Development Council. Okay. Now we know, as I previously discussed, that the legislation enacted in the early 70s, which brought about the South Carolina Human Affairs Commission, part of that legislation encourages diverse citizens to form councils at the county level or at the more local level, okay, for the purposes of advancing community relations and the quality of community life. So these councils, made up of diverse citizens who engage one another, okay, and the purpose, first of all, is to bring diverse citizens into constructive engagement with one another. Okay? And especially if these are leaders of the various social groups or the various groups within a community, the hope is that this may help to improve relations between key social groups or key groups within a community. Then what do they talk about? I mean, one of the things that they can obviously talk about is the state of relations between groups and the existence or emerging discrimination within a community and how to address that. But if these groups of diverse citizens, these councils of diverse citizens are truly going to be part of enhancing or part of a community relations and development system, then they need to be able to address all of the key contributors to the quality of community life. Okay? And with a special emphasis on the contribution of social relations or relations between groups, the contribution of those relations to the quality of community life. So the purpose of these councils is to bring diverse citizens into constructive engagement with one another in order to improve relations amongst diverse citizens and groups within a community, and to enhance community relations and to enhance the quality of community life, okay, by examining and advising on the other key contributors to the quality of community life. The other key contributors being those things like education, healthcare, law enforcement, etc. Those things in addition to the contribution of the nature and the state of social relations between groups within a community. In other words, the contribution of community relations. So what we're wanting to do here is we're wanting to help establish councils throughout the counties of South Carolina and potentially at a more local level where there is a reason to do so. So for example, sometimes it may be useful to establish a council for a city. And so a county like Charleston County might have multiple councils because of the relatively higher population and the diversity of key contributors to the quality of community life. The county may need to be broken down into separate areas and councils established for each area. The purpose of these councils is to bring diverse citizens together, first of all, to bring diverse citizens into constructive engagement with one another, which helps, particularly if they're in positions of leadership relative to the groups that they represent, that this will help to improve community relations. But more generally, to focus on the nature of relations between key social groups or key groups within a community, and to help develop the relations between key groups in a community. But in addition to that, to examine and advise on other key contributors to the quality of community life, like education, healthcare, law enforcement, etc. And if these councils can be established in all of the counties of South Carolina, or most of the counties in South Carolina, and in some cases there may be multiple councils within a county. And these councils can bring diverse citizens together, and they can develop constructive methods for engaging one another, for advancing community relations, and for identifying, analyzing, and advising on key contributors to the quality of community life. Then we will truly have a vibrant, constructive, and influential citizens-based community relations and development system within the secondary support system that helps to maximize the most amount of quality of community life for the most citizens. So let's now move on and talk a little bit about